Welcome to Lesson 4. This is part 1 of 5 parts. Be sure you have watched all previous lessons before watching this one. In Lesson 4, we're going to look at how you can simply format project plans for readability and to meet the needs of various stakeholders. We're specifically going to look at the Gantt chart view, the timeline, and a variety of reports. We'll also look at how these reports can be effectively printed and exchanged with other programs. There are other views that can be formatted in addition to the Gantt chart and timeline. However, we'll look at those as we learn them. In this first segment of the lesson, we're going to focus on the Gantt chart view, and we can draw the attention of viewers to key elements of our project plan. Before you start, be sure to download the fresh file as indicated in the classroom lecture to be sure your plan tracks well with the material in this and other Content B videos. Project automatically generates a summary task for the entire project. However, by default, it's not shown. It summarizes the overall project duration and displays the project start and finish date. If we are going to exchange data with another program, it may be useful to have the project summary task available. To expose it, click on the Format tab. In the Show Hide group, click Project Summary Task. Note where the task name came from, the title we gave to the project when we started it. This was part of the info function of the Backstage view. With a large plan to view in a small pane, it's sometimes useful to ask MS Project to scroll to a particular task. We can do that with the Scroll to Task function, which is a part of the Editing group of the Task tab, or by a right-click on the task. Remember, we also discussed viewing the whole project in the pane in an earlier lesson? You can also click on Entire Project in the View group of the View tab. Project will change the timescale to fit the whole project in the available space of the pane. We can change the colors of the bars of the Gantt chart using the Gantt Chart Style group. There is a small indicator on the lower right hand of the styles that lets us know we can expand the box to see more predefined styles. Note the styles are divided up into scheduling and presentation. Based on how we are using Project, there is very little difference between the two. Presentation styles do not distinguish between automatically and manually scheduled tasks, while scheduling styles do. Since we want a more dynamic plan, we should be minimizing the use of manually scheduled tasks, particularly at the point where we are ready to complete and share the plan. So, click the orange color scheme under Presentation Styles and note the effect. We can also change any individual bar we might want to draw viewer attention to. Using Format Bar, we can add shapes at the beginning, middle, and end of the bars, change the types, patterns, and colors of the shape of the bar, and choose what text to display. By default, Project has been displaying resource names on the right side of the bar. Explore the Bar Text tab of the Format bar, and you will see it's possible to display any variable contained within the system on any side of the bar. Remember how we constrained the task Coordinate Magazine feature articles to a specific time, as we had prearranged some meetings for that period? We may want to do more to call attention to that important time frame. So I'm going to place a triangle at the start of the bar and change the color to light blue. We can also change the background and many other text attributes of the entry table. For example, using the guidance of this slide, we can highlight the milestones of our plan. Using text tools, we can also italicize the text to further distinguish this cell. We can also change the shape of the milestone marker on the Gantt chart to call attention to it. Use Format Bar to select the start. We can also change how the non-working time and bars of the Gantt chart interact together. For any calendar, we can change the color and pattern of non-working time and decide if the bars appear over or under. By default, bars appear over non-working time. We're not going to make a change to our plan right now, but this is an available feature to consider. It might, for example, draw our attention to the fact that no work at all will occur during non-working time. On the other hand, non-working time may be useful if we are falling behind and need to catch up. If there is a strict no-work policy in effect, then cover the bars to highlight that. As a final way to improve our plan, we can add grid lines. These help the viewer as they shift their focus between the entry table and the Gantt chart, especially as the plan grows in number of tasks and length of the project. In this navigation session, I'm going to help you understand how to customize and personalize the view of your Gantt chart and some of the other views. So let's start with the first task that was listed in the slides. That was to show the summary task for the project. That's an easy one. We go to Format tab, and notice over here in Show Hide we have a project summary task. That's unchecked, so I'm just going to simply check that. You'll notice I now have a project summary task that shows the overall duration and the work and the start and finish date of my entire project as it stands at this point. The next step while we're here was to change the bars in the Gantt chart to orange. That's again an easy one. We go to Gantt Chart Style. Notice there's a little arrow here. I'm going to click on that. And now I can change all kinds of things about the appearance, but I really want to just choose an overall style first, so I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to click on this one instead, and go to Presentation Styles and choose the orange color. Now all my bars have turned orange. The next task was to draw attention to the constrained task of coordinating magazine feature articles. So we'll come over to that bar, and I can double click on that, which brings up Format Bar. And we were going to add a shape of a triangle at the start of the bar. And we were also going to change the color to a light blue. I think that one's a good one. Click OK, and you'll notice that my bar has changed here. By the way, this is probably a good time to show you how to scroll to task, because I don't see that entire task right now and how that fits into the plan. So I can right-click here, I can come to scroll to task, and now it brings it into the center of the view. Now the next task on the list was to highlight the milestone in the entry table. Now the entry table operates very much like Excel and Word with respect to fonts and backgrounds. So I can right-click here, and you'll notice I have a background color icon, and yellow is the default right now, so I'll click yellow, and I can click the I for italics, And I've completed that task. That was another easy one. The next item was to change the diamond shape here to a red star. So again, we can double click on it. It's a little small, so sometimes it's hard to click exactly in the right place, but I've got it now. I'm going to use the shape drop down, pick the star, and for color, I'm going to pick red, and I click OK, and we've completed another task. Our next task is to add the grid lines. On a large and complex plan with a lot of tasks and a lot of bars, it's sometimes difficult for the viewer of the plan to see which line of the entry table the particular bar on the right-hand side in the Gantt chart is associated with. So adding a faint grid line helps the viewer move their eyes across from a row of the entry table over to the bar and see the plan more clearly. So to add a grid line, we're already at the right place on the Format tab. I come over to the Format group, drop down Grid Lines, and choose Grid Lines. We want to add the grid lines for Gantt Rows, but notice we have many other types of grid lines we can add. And because we want this to be fairly subtle, I'm going to choose a very lightly dashed line, and I click OK. Now you can see the grid lines that are associated with each row of the entry table and extend into the Gantt chart. So as the final demonstration, wanted to show you the ability to put the non-working time over or under the bars. So we can right-click on any of these areas and choose non-working time. And notice I can put it behind, in front of, or even not draw, which would be great for a 24/7 operation. But let's choose in front, and we'll click OK, and you'll notice that the non-working time now is over the bar instead of under the bar. Now, we particularly ask you not to make a change at this point, so I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to resave my file, and that ends this navigation session. Now it's time for you to practice. Perform the tasks as indicated throughout the video. Show the summary task, change the bar and milestone appearance, highlight the milestone entry, add grid lines, and then practice with scrolling to task and changing the display of non-working time. When you are done, resave your file. Check your work against the next two slides. Your entry table should look something like this. Note the project summary task and the milestone task formatting. On the Gantt chart, note the project summary task, milestone task formatting, constrained task formatting, and the orange color of the bars. When you're ready and your plan looks something like this, you are ready to go on to the next video in this lesson. Lesson 4 consists of 5 parts. You just completed part 1 of 5. Please proceed to watch part 2.